Hey, Buff Nation, voice of the Buffs, Mark Johnson. Coming up this week in the Buffalo Stampede, we're talking plenty of basketball. On the men's side, they're coming off a split at the Arizona schools. We'll talk with Tad Boyle and point guard KJ Simpson. The women also got the split on the road in the desert. And we'll talk with head coach J.R. Payne, and we're going to touch on lacrosse and tennis as well. All this week on the Buffalo Stampede. Side O'Brien, give it off to Tristan. Fakes, tries against Cambridge. Head fake, defenders go by, lays it up. Count it! Whistle and a foul! Oh! That one right there was scored in the weight room last summer. Backs his way down to the paint, gives up on the right-hand side. Ruffin for three again. Right between the eyes from downtown. Oh! Javon has got 6 here in the second half. And the Buffs regain the lead 61 to up top. Clifford. Play clock at 6. They said it didn't touch the rim. Pull up 3 ball on the way. Tristan. Oh! Ice water in his veins here in the desert, right between the eyes for De Silva. Well, the Buffs open up a weekend swing through the Arizona schools. They wrap up the end of the ball game with a 17-3 run and knock off the Arizona State Sun Devils down in Tempe, winning there for the 3rd straight year. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Buffalo Stampede. Voice of the Buffs, Mark Johnson, once again out here at Corelli's in Boulder. We're out here Monday nights from 7 until 8 o'clock for a Buffs primetime show. And head coach Tad Boyle always with us, talking about a good weekend starting off in Tempe, Arizona. Presented by Coors Light. Coors Light, mountain cold refreshment made to chill. Celebrate responsibly. We welcome in the head coach of the Buffaloes, Tad Boyle, coming off the split this past weekend. Well, let's start with the game on Thursday. All right, you went on down, avenged a loss, a tough loss earlier in the season, Arizona State, and you always want to start fast and finish strong. And boy, I thought the first half and the end of the ball game, Buffs really finished very well those 2 halves.
Yeah, we did. End of the first half, we finished well. You know, Arizona State's got the ability, Mark, as you know, to take and make tough shots, even bad shots. And sometimes you have to prepare your team for that because they play so loose and free on offense that they don't hesitate one bit. And so they can come down and they can shake and bake and take a step back 3 and make it, because there's no repercussions for it. So the teams like that are very dangerous, and we saw that early. And it was funny, about midway through the first half, Coach Ray, our assistant coach who had to scout, said something in the huddle I thought was kind of reassuring, and I was hoping he was right. And he ended up being right, but he said, guys, they won't continue making those shots for 40 minutes. And I was like, I hope they don't. If they do, you shake their hands and you say congratulations, but we just kept battling. You can't let your heads get down when that happens, and our guys didn't do that. So I was really proud of them. And then you can still hang around. Well, that's kind of what we did. And then we made some shots at the end of the half. KJ hit a big 3 before halftime to tie it up and gave us some momentum going into second half.
Some guys have got a penchant for making shots like that, don't they? I mean, when you look at it, and we're going to have KJ on the show, as I mentioned, coming up here in a little while. The 3 hasn't been falling consistently for him, but
no,
I think he's made 3 of his last 30 or something thereabouts. One of them was a game winner with Washington State. One of them is the buzzer beater at the halftime against Arizona State. Kind of got that innate quality to hit those kind of big shots.
Yeah, he does, and he's a capable shooter. KJ is a really capable shooter. It's just what we're trying to get him to understand is what are good shots and what are not good shots for our team, not necessarily for him, because he thinks he can make every shot.
Sure,
that's just the way he's wired. So, which is a good thing. But it could be a bad thing as well. So, but he's got that ability, and it's a kind of a fine line with players like that. You don't want to take their aggressiveness away, but you want them to understand, time and score and situations. And it's funny, the Arizona game's a good example. He had a 3 in the first half. He took it, off the fast break. There was 26 seconds to go in the shot clock.
Yeah.
And it's like it didn't go in. And then there was one in the second half where we moved the ball and got it side to side, got a paint touch, and he took another 3, and there was 9 seconds to go in the shot clock. I like that. Neither one of them went in, but still, one is a good shot, one's a bad shot.
Right.
And so we need to understand that. And not just him, but, across our lineup. I think the one guy who does get that is Tristan. We got to get more guys to kind of buy in and understand kind of what we're thinking.
Tristan really had a nice weekend down there. 23 in the win over Arizona State. He had, 18 or 19 against Arizona on Saturday. You know, there was a stretch there where he seemed to be scuffling along a little bit on the road.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
And as anybody who follows our team knows, we need Tristan da Silva to be good for us to be good. I mean, that's just the bottom line. He's got a lot of pressure on him, you know, much like Evan did last year and Jabari to some degree. So he's that guy that we need to play well, and for the most part he has. But when he doesn't, we better have some other guys step up or we got no chance. And that's unfortunate, but it's just the reality of where we are right now with this team. So I like, you know, again, I like our fight. I like our competitiveness. I thought, you know, that Arizona State game was not easy. Javon Ruffin, I thought, made some big-time threes for us down the stretch. They kind of got us back in the game, and then we finished it off with some really good defense over the last 4 or 5 minutes.
Is that one of the things you think as a coach, Tad, that you learn over the course of time? And I guess I'm referring to a guy like, you know, Tristan. You have got so much faith in him, what he is as a player.
Yep.
And then when they kind of have a little dip, to not overreact in those situations and kind of just help coax him through those?
Yeah, I mean, you know, it's funny, both with KJ and with Tristan, I feel like, you know, as a coach, as a head coach, and we've talked about this as a coaching staff, like, I'm going to live or die with these guys. Right. I mean, literally. I mean, those two guys, are, you know, it's like
they're the cornerstones.
They're the cornerstones, and if they play well, we got a chance. If they don't, we don't have much of a chance. And it's not that the other guys aren't capable, because they are, but from a consistency standpoint, we really need those two guys to play well.
There's head coach Tad Boyle out here at Corelli's on Buffs Primetime, talking about the Arizona swing. Getting ready now. You got 3 straight at home. The Buffs will take on the LA schools on Thursday and Saturday, USC, UCLA, and then the last game of the season against the Utes of Utah. Let's go ahead and take a timeout here on the Stampede. When we come back, the point guard KJ Simpson is going to join us here on the Buffalo Stampede.
I feel like our defense, you know, we struggled on the road a little bit, you know, stopping guys and taking care of the ball on offense. So those two points were huge for us tonight.
What's been the message, Tristan, here the last few weeks? You know, this season probably hasn't gone how you guys wanted, but it says a lot that you're still playing and that you came in here and got this win tonight. So what's been the message from the coaching staff and the message amongst you guys as players?
I mean, first and foremost, just come out and compete from the get-go. And, you know, we love playing with each other. You know, we're a really tight group here in Colorado. So we love playing for each other, and we still do it. You know, we just had struggles so far in the past, taking care of the ball and guarding. And I feel like tonight that wasn't as big of an issue as usual.
There's junior wing Tristan da Silva after a 23-point effort in a victory by the Buffaloes in Tempe, Arizona over Arizona State. Back in the Stampede out here at Corelli's. Monday night, 7 till 8 o'clock, right here for Buffs Prime Time. After the game in Tempe, the Buffs then on Saturday were down at the McHale Center in Tucson, Arizona, playing the 8th-rated team in the country. Got off to a great start. Up by 12, in fact, at one point, before the Wildcats came storming back. Buffs ended up losing by 10 in that one. And talking basketball over the weekend, we talked with KJ Simpson, a point guard for the Buffaloes out here at Corelli's. Powered by Ford. Cars, trucks, and SUVs built for America. Built Ford proud. Joining us, he's a California guy, point guard for the Buffaloes, number 2. Now in his sophomore season, KJ Simpson during our player segment tonight. Man, got some fans here tonight.
Just a little bit.
All right, this past weekend, what was your assessment of getting a split down there in Arizona?
Yeah, I mean, obviously we would like to walk away with 2 wins, but I think we could just hold our head up high. You know, our fight was there.
Yeah.
And just learn some things that, you know, hopefully we could take forward and, you know, use to these last games that we have ahead of us.
You know, this team, the one thing this team has done all season long, and, you know, I'm sure there's, just like Ted's talked about, there's probably 5-6 games you'd love to have back this season, right? But this team has competed game in and game out. There's been no doubt about that. When Tad said to you guys, you got to be tougher, what does that mean to you guys when you hear that?
I think just play with a sense of urgency and more energy. You can kind of sense it on the floor when a team is playing tougher than the other opponent. whether that be on the offensive, rebounding type scale, their defensive pressure, just how they run the floor, just simple things like that. But I think just more of an energy. Like, we need to have more energy, have guys, even if you're on the bench, just clapping, cheering your teammates on, just simple things like that.
How do you think you've evolved now? Last year you had a reserve role, right, in large part. This year you come in and, okay, Tad hands you the ball and says, all right, you're the quarterback out here. How do you think you've evolved? What changes for a player when that happens?
I think just having to understand and read the game a lot better. I'm still learning that. I've always had room to grow, always have room to learn. But I think just my patience, not always going 100 miles per hour like I kind of did freshman year.
Yeah.
And just reading the game, reading what the defense gives you, understanding the feel for a game, when a guy is hot, like Tristan, or when I needed, like Coach said, get the ball in the paint and feed, the bigs like Lawson, just simple things like that.
I'd have to think, with your physical ability, because, you are an athletic guy. You got a gear that a lot of guys don't have. When you're in high school, that kind of covers up a lot of mistakes, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Right?
For sure.
Then you get here, and you're playing against grown men out there, and they're quick, and they can, they move well, and they can leap well. All of a sudden, you have to start thinking the game, right?
Exactly, yeah. It's more of a mental game. The higher you kind of go, and you can kind of get away with it, like you said, in high school and stuff like that. But here, guys are just as fast, just as strong, if not stronger, taller, more athletic. So you have to think the game a lot more than, you kind of would get away with.
When Tad talks about, you and Tristan, it says, okay, there's two cornerstones. I'm going to live and die with those two guys. Did you like hearing that he's giving you that responsibility?
Yeah, for sure. That was lovely.
Yeah?
Nah, that was lovely, yeah. Nah. But
that's a great description, isn't it? That's lovely.
But also with that, it comes responsibility, which, you want as a player, but you have to be, ready and accept that role and understand that, you have all the good that comes with you, but also all the bad and the negative, just like he does as a coach. So it's definitely a role that you have to be prepared to take.
Who have you looked up to or modeled a game after in terms of, some NBA guy that's a point guard? Who do you look up to?
I watched a lot of film with Coach Greer, and we like to watch like Steve Nash and Chris Paul, kind of just their change of pace and how they work in ball screen actions, which is something I feel like I've kind of improved on.
Yeah, you have.
But also in terms of just my game, I like to model like John Morant, just because how he's explosive and how he can just change motors, and also just his pace as well, just things like that. I feel like it's a little bit similar.
Well, when you're talking Steve Nash and Chris Paul, you're talking about a couple of very simple guys.
Just
right?
reading the game.
Yeah.
They're just out there, not just playing to play, they're reading the defense, using not just, their skill set, but their mental as well, which is a huge part of basketball.
I've seen many times, I've tried to describe it. So there are times when I see you get the ball and you're kind of orchestrating things. And it's real easy to go, like you said, 1,000 miles per hour like you're capable of doing. But that change of pace, I've seen you do that a lot. You get a guy in your hip, and you kind of ride him down the lane a little bit, and I see you looking for guys. That change of pace can be a great weapon, can it?
Yeah, exactly. I think that it took me a long time to finally understand that, but that's something I've really, really been working on, or really been improving on, and I still am. Like I said, I have a lot to work on, but I can see that, that leap that I've made from last year for sure in that area.
I'm going to ask you to put your analyst hat, your coaching hat on right now.
All right.
Okay? Tristan Da Silva.
Oh.
Tell me about him as a player.
He's just spectacular, he's unguardable. He could play, just every position, and kind of a mismatch out there.
The sophomore point guard for the Buffaloes, K.J. Simpson, dynamic player for Colorado, coming off the split, now getting ready for the L.A. schools here this weekend in Boulder. Coming up next, the CU women also split on the road against Arizona. We're going to talk with head coach J.R. Payne after a break.
Well, it's good to see the tennis team back in action, sitting at 6-2 in the young season, getting a win over BYU and then a loss to the Indiana Hoosiers. Back in the Stampede, voice of the Buffs, Mark Johnson. Back here at Corelli's Monday nights from 7 till 8 o'clock. We're out here for Buffs Prime Time. The CU women also getting the split on the road against the Arizona schools. A win in Tempe over Arizona State, then a loss in Tucson on Sunday to the 18th rated Arizona Wildcats. And we caught up with head coach J.R. Payne talking about the split in the desert. Welcome in the head coach J.R. Payne of the 21st rated Buffs. That's what they were in the poll that came out earlier today, coming off the split down at Arizona. That was an oddity because we actually saw J.R. and the crew with the men's team crossing over in the hotel.
It was kind of fun. Yeah, I wish we did that more often. It's always cool to be able to see the guys on the road.
You know what it was great for? It was great for fans.
Yes.
I can't tell how many fans I talked to. Went down there, took in the men's game on Thursday, and then went on Friday. And went down to Tucson, did the same thing on Saturday and Sunday, so it was kind of cool.
It was fun, yeah.
Could take us to the game on Friday then.
Well, it was strange. We talked before about 11 a.m. It was a kids' game. You know, we didn't practice in their arena at all. We just kind of went to the game and played the game. Even the security people outside the gym, like, rerouted us 10 minutes around the building. We're like, just let us off the bus. Let us in the building. We want to shoot. It was fine. I didn't think we played particularly well in either game this weekend. But we, you know, when you can win on the road and still feel like you didn't play great, then that's a good thing. Yeah. So
Sunday's game, the offense kind of disappeared on you against Arizona, didn't it?
Yeah, it disappeared big time. Yeah. We watched the film together today. Usually we do highlights and lowlights of every single game, and we kind of clip it up and mark it up and kind of share it with them. And we thought, well, it might just be easier to just watch it, you know, together. So we watched the first half. It took a while, but it was good. I mean, we had a lot of good learning lessons. I always say you can learn a lot from a win. You can learn a lot from a loss. So as long as you're learning and you don't shy away from the discomfort of, man, that was bad, you know, then you can actually really get better. So we had great dialogue today. We talked about how we could have communicated more effectively when things weren't going our way. But honestly, just a lot of clips where we're like, what are you doing here? You know, what is she doing? What is that? Yeah. So definitely not our best basketball, but lots to learn.
You can always tell about a team when a team takes ownership of that. So when you're having an honest conversation with them, going through your film, the way they respond, and my sense is your team responds very positively to that and takes responsibility.
Yeah, and some people are more talkative than others, you know, and some people really just want to like ingest it and learn and process before they're ready to speak about it. But we have a pretty veteran group, you know, and we talk about a lot of things. Like whenever we have an issue, we immediately talk about it. So it's something that our team expects, you know, us to be able to do, and I think it makes us a better team.
When you do a film session like that with a team, you can kind of give us a little inside baseball here for the fans. Is it J.R. Payne up in front? Is T with you, the entire staff? How does it work with your staff?
Yeah, we're all in the room, the entire staff, the entire team, whether you know, we had two red shirts that didn't even travel. They were in there too. The person who did the scouting report, in this case it was Toriano, he leads the film session. You know, but on this one, it ended up being more dialogue. It wasn't as much about Arizona. It was more about, this is the first time that things are kind of going sideways, and we didn't just lean into each other and fix it. We kind of, you know, sort of let it go sideways. So it became more of just a group discussion about what could we have done more effectively as coaches to help you through that, and how could they have been better. And so it was great. I feel much better after that.
I would think as well, when you've got a team where your team is now, you're well over 20 wins. You got 21 wins. You're in the top 25. You're going to finish in the top handful of teams back to. That's a little probably different film session now than it would have been back in November, right?
Yeah. Oh, I definitely think so. Before it would have been more technical, like screening angles and, you know, things like that are real teachable things. We already know that stuff. We just didn't necessarily apply it very well, you know, this Sunday, which is why we scored 41 points or whatever it was. So it was really more about, all right, so Thursday, a whole lot more adversity coming up. What are we going to do to be better by Thursday?
Yeah. When you went back and looked at it from an offensive standpoint, listen, offense comes and goes at times, right? Sometimes the ball goes in, sometimes it doesn't. Was that primarily it, or were there some technical things that you saw?
Yeah, I mean, I think that our team felt, you know, when we were communicating today, they felt sped up, you know, and so they felt like things were just moving faster than they wanted them to. And so when we watched the film and we asked them, well, does this look fast? They were like, no, not really. You know, so I think it was just more of an internal, I don't know, maybe a little bit pressure, maybe huge environment, you know, 9,000 people, great crowd, you know, things like that can play into that. But But really then the lesson is like, okay, so when we start to feel that way, what should our response be? And that's where I think we'll be better next time we take the floor.
And that kind of communication, I think, with a team like yours that's experienced and mature, you can really approach it that way.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Very honest, open. People speak directly to each other. There's no, we just want to win. And we know that if there's anything in the way of us winning, we're willing to take it head on.
Head coach J.R. Payne, the Colorado Buffaloes now ranked number 21 in the country, getting ready for the final week of the regular season. They've got Thursday and Saturday games against the Bay Area schools at the Event Center. We're talking more women's hoops after the timeout. Quay Miller's going to join us after a break.
She shoots and Donnelly fends that off. Rudy spins and there it is on cue. Charlie Rudy.
Well, the CU lacrosse team's gotten off to a slow start to start the season. They're 0-3 in the campaign, dropped their home opener against number 10 DU at Kittredge Field by a 9-8 count. Back into Stampede, voice of the Buffs, Mark Johnson, talking women's basketball after the Buffs went down and got the split on the road against the Arizona schools. We caught up with Quay Miller, one of our favorites here on the Buffalo Stampede, after the victory in Tempe over the Sun Devils.
And what an afternoon it was. Started at breakfast with Quay Miller. She was incredible. Had a magical game. 17 points, 10 rebounds. She hangs with us now. Well, Quay, this wasn't easy, right? I mean, that shows you how good this conference is. That's a winless team, and they kept punching and punching and punching ASU.
Yeah, we knew coming into this game that this was one of our most important games because they've been in a lot of tough games. Just how Cal sticks around. ASU is a team that if you're not careful with them, then they'll take over and beat you.
Talk about what you guys continue to pull through in gut check time as ASU attacked. I thought they did some things with you guys well defensively and offensively, but your gut check moments have been big, Quay.
Yeah, I think that it was just staying composed. The team just coming together in moments like that. We knew what we were coming into when we got here, and we just agreed that through times of adversity, those are the times where we need to lean in and just pour into each other.
Colorado women's basketball playing some great ball all season long, and you guys are playing well down the stretch here. Talk about as stressful as the stretch run can be, Quay. How fun and exciting is it to be in this stretch run?
It is very exciting. We worked hard for this. We worked very hard in the preseason, and I think that our hard work is just paying off.
You're not going to find a better personality in all of college athletics than Quay Miller, one of our favorites here in the program, as the CU women get the split against the Arizona schools. Now, coming up this week, because of the conference tournament coming up, they don't play Friday, Sunday as normal. They play Thursday and Saturday along with the men. So you got double headers both days. The CU women will take on Stanford at 3 o'clock on Thursday. The men follow against USC at 7 o'clock on Thursday night. And then on Saturday, the women play at noon against the Cal Golden Bears. The men play against the top 5 team in UCLA later on that night. I'm voice of the Buffs, Mark Johnson, putting a wrap this week from Corelli's on the Buffalo Stampede television show. We'll talk to you next time.